Mike Sargent, and this is Arise on Screen.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Tom Hanks returns to the big screen, this time in IMAX in his Oscar-winning role as Forrest Gump celebrates 20 years.
The favela isn't exactly a tourist destination.
Well, I'm not your regular tourist.
In Falcon Rising, an ex-Marine with a dark past takes on gangsters in the slums of Brazil. We sit down with action star Michael Jai White.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Identical!
Separated at birth, identical twins lead separate lives, but connect through their love of music. Ray Liotta, Ashley Judd, and Joe Pantoliano star in The Identical. All this and more on Arise on Screen.
Hello, I'm Mike Sargent, and welcome to Arise on Screen, your global home for films both on screen and behind the scenes. Let's get to it first with this week's box office winners. Guardians of the Galaxy tops the box office again this week, followed by November Man, Let's Be Cops, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and If I Stay rounds it out in the number 5 spot. And in movie news,
We welcome to stage the one, the only
Magic Mike.
The boys are taking their magic on the road. Over the Labor Day weekend, Channing Tatum and his troupe of male strippers began production on the much-anticipated sequel, Magic Mike XXL. Ladies, the movie rides into theaters next summer.
I saw one of them gazelles though make a move on a cheetah. It was embarrassing. The cheetah got pissed off too, because he was ready to get the gazelle, and the gazelle said,
In casting, after years of back and forth over the biopic, actor and comedian Mike Epps has won the role to play legendary comedian Richard Pryor. Oprah Winfrey and Oscar-nominated director Lee Daniels will produce the film. Winfrey will also get in front of the camera again to star as Richard Pryor's grandmother, a brothel-running madam named Marie Carter. The new documentary, Lakai, follows two Haitian-American filmmaker brothers back to Haiti after the 2010 earthquake. In search of loved ones, Lakai, which means home, is told from their point of view and shows the tragedy of the natural disaster on their homeland while revealing the beauty of Haiti's land and culture and the resilience of the people. The film will be released nationwide in October.
The next time you call me, I'm going to see you.
I'll be waiting. You're not just another white spot to me.
Actor and producer Harry Belafonte will receive the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award for his lifetime achievement, exceptional contributions, and his service to the movie industry. The movie pioneer, singer, and lifelong activist was an early supporter of the civil rights movement who was never afraid to use his high-profile position to shed light on racism and inequality. The award, an Oscar statue, will be presented to Belafonte in November at the 6th Annual Governors Awards in Hollywood.
and in festival news, the nearly 40-year-old Toronto International Film Festival kicked off this week. In the past, the festival has often predicted Oscar-winning movies. Unlike festivals like Cannes and the Sundance Toronto Film Festival, it's not a competition, but viewing audiences do get to vote on a People's Choice Award. One of this year's features is the documentary Beats of the Antonov. The film documents the indignity of displaced farmers, herders, and rebels affected by Africa's longest civil war in Sudan. Another one of the most anticipated films is Black and White, the latest film project from Oscar winner Kevin Costner, whose character is caught in a fierce custody battle. Today, I'm joined by arts and entertainment writer Carla Hay of Examiner.com. Carla, welcome. And of course, the man who needs no introduction,
Michael.
Film critic Bobby Rivers.
Folks.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me back.
Okay, well, before we get to our movies, we have to acknowledge the passing of two greats, okay? Recently, we know about Robin Williams, and
Right.
then just very recently, Joan Rivers. Now, let's talk about Joan,
Yes.
Bobby. What's your relationship? Because I know you have a little bit of a connection with Joan.
We did a pilot for a show that did not get picked up. And she was so gracious and so smart and so kind to me. And on camera, she said, Rivers, 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 are we related? And I said, I'm not sure, but I think we both have black roots. And it broke her up. And she gave me good advice and said, you know, stick with it and always be willing to accept good constructive criticism, which she did herself.
Okay, now Carla, you actually got to meet Joan Rivers yourself as well.
I did. When she was doing interviews for her documentary, Joan Rivers, A Piece of Work, in 2010, we did interviews with her in a roundtable setting. And what struck me about her was, like a lot of people have been saying, that despite her onstage persona, she was actually a very sweet, polite person. And she was actually one of the few entertainers that showed up for these interviews exactly on time. So she was very professional and very prompt. A lot of energy, too.
She was a pioneer in many, many different ways. You know,
Yes.
she directed Billy Crystal in Rabbit Test. She was a voice in Shrek 2.
Right.
Okay. And, you know, her and Robin Williams, at least, they both started in stand-up. They both did TV. They both went on to make films. They both suffered from depression.
That's right, after Edgar committed suicide.
Yes,
And they were
correct.
both very kind people.
Yes, and known for what they did outside of their movie and film careers.
Exactly. They will be missed.
Joan, you will be missed. But we'll be back to talk movies here on Arise on Screen.
It's been 20 years since the world learned that life is like a box of chocolates. We take a look at Tom Hanks in the iconic Forrest Gump next here on Arise on Screen.
Been awarded the Medal of Honor.
How come?
One of my favorite moments on the show was interviewing the author Taya Selassie. She wrote the New York Times bestseller Ghana Must Go, and she actually coined the phrase Afropolitan. And I feel like in part what this show speaks to is the Afropolitan audience. They're African, they're traveled, they're cosmopolitan, they're interested in the diaspora. That's what we deliver here, and Taya in many ways was the perfect embodiment of what I want our viewer to represent.
You wouldn't believe it if I told you, but I can run like the wind blows.
Who in the hell is that?
That there's Forrest Gump, Coach. Just a local idiot.
It's hard to believe that it's been 2 decades since Tom Hanks won an Oscar for his portrayal of the lovable dimwit in Robert Zemeckis' film Forrest Gump. Welcome back to Arise on Screen, and we're talking about the 20th anniversary of Forrest Gump. It really is hard to believe.
It really is.
And now, let me ask you both. Now, for you first, Bobby, what is your reaction to that film then versus seeing it now?
It still touches me. I saw it a few months ago. I saw it before it opened, and it still moved me. I think he deserved the Oscar. I did not expect to like it because I'd read the book, and I wanted to see how is Tom Hanks going to play a big muscle hunk with a crew cut as Forrest is in the book. You know, and he says he's an idiot savant who says being an idiot is no box of chocolates.
Well, you know, it's interesting because I think I saw it recently. I saw it in the IMAX version, and I was moved. And I think they really don't make films like that anymore. And you know, it's interesting, Carla. You made a very interesting point where you said that you think in a post 9/11 world, these aren't the kind of films that would do the kind. That movie made over $650 million and won 6 Oscars. That wouldn't happen today.
I think that part of it is because right now it seems like the movies that are doing big business, we're talking about, you know, movies that make almost $500 million or almost $1 billion total worldwide. They seem to be more about crime fighting, or they're animated movies, or they're based on fantasy novels. And Forrest Gump was a feel-good family drama that we just don't see a lot of those being made anymore by major studios. And so I think that times have changed. I think in the post 9/11 world, people are just looking for a different form of entertainment, and we're more likely to see a family-oriented drama made for television as opposed to the big screen these days.
Well, you know, first of all, I have to say I brought a box of chocolate.
So that was a pretty good gun.
Was that pretty good? We see, you know, it's funny too because this was one of those movies that was a cultural touchstone. You know, I remember everybody doing an impression of Gump or Janny. You know, so saying things like that. And here, this is.
I bet people who saw the movie and then bought the book, which became a bestseller because of the movie, were disappointed because the book is so much different.
Well, I think so, you know, and I think also that similar to Being There, part of the reason they did that is a big muscle-bound guy. Yeah. You know, John Goodman was originally going to be in the role, you know, and he probably would have to work out with Stallone or something. Right. But I think people wouldn't have been able to relate to that. Similar to Being There, where
Peter Sellers.
Peter Sellers played a character who, in the book, was this handsome, really good-looking man. I don't know if you ever read the book.
I didn't read the book.
But again, it's a quick read. It's a great read.
And let's not forget that the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company became a restaurant franchise because of this movie.
Yes,
so next time we should have some shrimp, I guess.
Well, I'll bring shrimp. See, I could have brought shrimp, but that would have been a little messy. All right, our next film is Wetlands, an unapologetically vulgar coming-of-age tale about an eccentric teenage girl longing for the reunion of her divorced parents and getting her first taste of first love. Starring Swiss actress Carla Jury.
Hygiene wird bei mir klein geschrieben. Je dreckiger die Toilette, desto besser. Da ich mich innerlich sehr gegen das Rasieren wehre, mache ich das immer zu schnell und zu dolle.
So, Carla, I'm going to go to you first. Now, this is definitely vulgar, definitely edgy. It's won a lot of awards. It's been called the most WTF movie of the year. What is it that you didn't like about this movie?
Oh, pretty much everything. I think that's an insult to people who love films to consider this movie art, because there's a lot of scenes that I think are gratuitous, not to further the story, but just for shock value. I felt that there was a lot in the movie that they were checking off some, list to see how much further they could go in terms of deviant behavior they could show this main character exhibiting. And I also felt that the people behind the movie didn't really understand teenage girls.
Well, now, what's interesting about that, this was written by a female and a German TV personality, and it was the world's bestseller when it came out for quite some time. Now, Bobby, you liked it a little bit more, I think.
Well,
and it didn't
I thought the
offend you.
actress was good, but basically there are films that are graphic yet have something of substance. You think Short Bus, Mysterious Skin, Steve McQueen's Shame, back in the day, Midnight Cowboy and A Clockwork Orange. This didn't have anything compelling or substantial. It's like a hipster movie. It appears to be edgy and provocative, but it's really conventional. It was really The Parent Trap with hemorrhoids, because she wants to get her parent
trap with hemorrhoids.
The Parent Trap with. I hope is Haley Mills watching?
Okay. Well, I have to say, I think I kind of sit somewhere in between the two of you. I wasn't repulsed by the film, but I think her performance is clearly what carries it, and it's a very brave one.
And that's why I liked her performance. Her character was so entitled that she...
pretty unlikable.
And I would recommend, and if people want to see a better movie about a troubled teenage girl, I would recommend either 13, starring Evan Rachel Wood, or Precious, starring Gabourey Sidibe.
Okay.
There you go.
We'll be back.
Ex-Marine John Falcon Chapman is the latest action hero on the scene, taking down bad guys in the name of justice. We sit down with the star of Falcon Rising, actor Michael Jai White, next here on Arise on Screen.